afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with me, host Imperial Dane, featuring today a 1 versus 1 on Sturzdorf. It is time for the Monday Novice fight. Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. So those of you of weaker constitution should probably look away right now. This is going to get ugly. We shall be watching KrakbummEnte, which, I don't know, could mean something about exploding ducks for all I know. But playing for the United States, taking on the fight for the 21st Infantry Division, holding up against the Krauts under VonMansteinSS2. Though I'm pretty sure this is not the actual VonManstein or anyone even remotely related to him. So a fake Manstein. Playing though for the Panzer League, taking on the fight for the 106th Panzer Brigade, Feldherrnhalle. And we are seeing two Kettenkraut start from him, going pretty heavily for the right-hand side in a quick bit for resources, like the fuel and the high munitions. And we're also seeing a first Panzer squad. They're arriving for VonManstein. In the meanwhile, for the Americans, we are seeing a 2 engineer start, the standard start. We're seeing riflemen popping up there as well. So far, so good. Going to pop up then, secure strategic points. So likely at the current stage, I mean, KrakbummEnte is heading for the west, whereas largely the west anyways, whereas the German player VonManstein is largely heading towards the right hand side. So initially I don't think we were going to see any larger engagements. Also slightly less functionally good is the fact that VonManstein is actually using his Panzer Grenadiers to secure territory, while they're in fact not very good at it. And already with the second Panzer squad we are seeing a building going up for VonManstein. We are seeing a Kampfgruppe Kompanie. So either he's going to be taking straight for an armoured car rush, or he's actually intending to use it and some half-tracks. Bit harder to judge that. Second rifle squad on the way for KrakbummEnte. Kampfgruppe Company almost done. Panzer Grenadiers equipped with the Gewehr 43. Semi-automatic German rifle. Not the first one they had. They've had the Gewehr 41 before that, but that was less good, and they continued further development, although it rather helped once they got their hands on the Soviet SVT-40 and figured out how they did it. But there we go, Kampfgruppe Company up. Panzer Grenadiers squad can move on, but again, not necessarily the best use of the Panzer Grenadiers. I mean, initially, you're usually better off actually trying to find the engineers with your Panzer Grenadiers and use the overpowering firepower of the Panzer Grenadiers to push them away and thus delay the Americans capping, while your Kettenkraut does all that. So VonManstein's start is less than optimal. He's definitely not getting the best usage out of it. And there we go, first engagement. Riflemen coming under slight fire from the Panzer Grenadiers, but already the riflemen are escaping their clutches. Well, it looks like another Panzer squad going to move in, and there we go. Looks like the first actual engagement is now going to happen. No longer just a brief skirmish of the briefest kind, but there we go, full engagement. Moving in from several sides, surrounding the riflemen, doing their best to deny them full usage of their cover. There we go, riflemen are definitely outgunned. Although we do see another squad arriving, we also see the infantry half-track up. That should definitely get up there quickly and provide support. Oh well, a bit too late, but could still make some sort of effort. There we go, firing away with the slight machine gun. We are seeing slowing down on the riflemen. Will the half-track move up closer? Might be an idea to actually move up to the Panzer Grenadiers, but never mind. Then already one rifleman squad down to 3 men. The other one's still suppressed. More Panzer Grenadiers, they need to get out there. They need to reinforce. They need to get back in the fight. There we go, one rifleman squad actually out of the fight now. It looks like the other chaps are going to focus down the infantry half-track, but they actually end up being pinned from the infantry half-track. It actually fires away where the cover doesn't quite apply. Another rifleman squad moving up. Infantry after going to catch them out in the open. Panzer Grenadiers need to get up. No, he's building another building. He's got barely any combat troops out, and he's continuing to build buildings. That's definitely not good for VonManstein. Even though the fact that he's currently his infantry half-track is actually absorbing most of the damage, he can't keep on doing that. He needs more combat troops. And there we go. Looks like the Americans will then actually be able to gain a larger upper hand, because he's now currently pushed all of VonManstein's combat troops off the field, leaving behind only the Kettenkraut to take some territory. And again, they can't defend themselves. They're not even given a pistol. Oh, it looks like the Americans are going to try and get the infantry half-track. And there we go. The flak feeling just tears through them like a hot knife through butter. It shreds them, it murders them, it ends their lives in huge flashes of doom.
Forward supply line.
Panzer command is up for VonManstein, but again, that should not have been happening. He should have at least got another more Panzer Grenadier squad out, I think. And he again had the second one out, supporting the half-track. That could easily have ended up with a ruined half-track for VonManstein. So that was definitely not
They're
good.
taking one of our points.
There we go, one Kenkat could very well look to go down very soon, as KrakbummEnte's engineers do their best to deal with it. 4 rifle squads out for KrakbummEnte, and he's actually going for Browning automatics, perhaps help deal with the Panzer Brigade and the infantry half-tech, but of course he can also set himself up for the slight problem of a armoured car. Although then again, there's so much cover, there's so many buildings on Sturzdorf, then I mean a Browning automatic move on this map is not necessarily that bad, since again there'll be a lot more way to sort of mitigate the damage coming in from the armoured car, so that works out quite nicely. But there we go, infantry half-track rolling out, Panzer Grenadiers moving out in larger numbers now, keeping a squad in the infantry half-track. That's also good. There's a reason you do this. Why do you do this? Because again then the squad inside does not take damage, you can move up quite close to the enemy, and again the half-track will take the damage. And again, if the half-track takes the damage, you can just repair it. And again, that costs considerably less manpower than, well, having to replace the men.
What do you need?
In the meanwhile, though, we're seeing a good old blobbing up there from KrakbummEnte. Has something he has to be careful about. Obviously, at the same time, cutting off a lot of the resources for Manstein. And there we go, we are seeing an armored car of the leichte Panzerspielwagen 222, or 222, or 222. And there you go, the armor car pulling up. Although again, note the rifle actually in heavy cover, so the armor car's effectiveness is going to be a bit limited. And already there, it's taking some damage from the BARs, the Browning automatics. Forces pushing up there. The armor car, I think, should be trying to flank the rifle from there instead of trying to deal with the several rifle squads there in heavy cover. Kettenkrad actually went down. VonMansteinSS2 already been pressured a bit on several sides. Assault Grenadiers moving in. Sturmgewehrs in hand. They're going to assault the American positions. And there we go. The riflemen go down. And the rifle squad, in fact, ends up being completely wiped out. KrakbummEnte there clearly demonstrating that he needs to work on his unit preservation. His command skills leave a bit to be desired. At least that would, I imagine, be the opinion of his troops. Rifleman squad over there taking a blasting of quite the nasty kind. Again, note that the armor car is actually taking quite a bit of damage without necessarily doing an awful lot to the rifle. Again, and that's what you get when you actually place the rifle in heavy cover. The armor car becomes a lot less useful because again it's also very lightly armored. Infantry half-tech now moving in, but without much support, and again it's going to be taking the full brunt of the Browning automatics. VonMansteinSS2 here definitely not really displaying understanding again of what heavy cover does in making your troops much harder, and again what you bloody well are not supposed to do with light vehicles. Instead he's actually allowing them to take a lot of damage. Again, he's not doing a lot of damage to the Americans. In fact, he just lost the armored car. And he could even lose this infantry half-tech. He's not careful. Although it looks like KrakbummEnte might end up making the same mistake. They're like, no, he does pull back this time around. He's not going to be wanting to face the flak feeling. But again, there's not a lot of combat troops from VonMansteinSS2. There's not a lot of units overall from him. And again, the American player's already securing most of the map. Although he himself needs to perhaps get some replacement troops. But no, we're seeing a supplier going up to help a bit with manpower upkeep. And of course also ensures we can get a bit more veterancy faster. Half-track getting repaired by most of his Panzer Grenadiers, equipping him with assault rifles. Meet the Sturmgewehr, which the Panzer Grenadiers... No, you don't do that! Oh, KrakbummEnte, du dummer Hund. You don't build an observation post on a strategic point. It's 200 manpower, you don't gain any more manpower faster. And yes, you might think, well, then I'm securing it against the Hun. They can't take it so easily. Yes, but that's also 200 manpower being used for pretty much nothing else. But that's a waste of manpower. That could have been used for a motor pool. That could have been used for another rifleman squad. There's so many other things those 200 manpower could have been used for, which would have done a lot more good. And looks like another Kettenkrad is going to go down for VonMansteinSS2. Again, his unit preservation again leaving quite a bit to be desired. The infantry moving up, but again, infantry half-track without much support. He keeps on doing that, although in this case he actually does have several squads in it, allowing one to pop out. That's good, having the assault troops pop out. And there we go, he actually managed to force away KrakbummEnte's troops. But again, in the meanwhile, he's lost most of the map. He's actually laying down an observation post there, but not... Oh, dear KrakbummEnte, you're... I bloody well hope you're never going to study for a captain, because you're going to be failing. And yes, that was perhaps a bit harsh, but the point still stands. The fact is, he built an observation post, a second one, but note the placement. He did not build the one safely up close to his base. No, he built one next to his opponent's base. That's begging again for a waste of 200 manpower. That is
The Americans are capturing a sector.
a case of very poor judgment from KrakbummEnte. Very poor judgment. Although still not as poor as that one. But Infantry pushing up. VonManstein leading an assault. His Panzer Brigade troops making the move. Sticking to their historical organization of the Panzer Brigade. So these largely assault rifles. There would have been a few squads equipped with MGs. But overall the Panzer Brigades, as a part of sort of a more modern organization and an attempt to sort of, well, basically conserve manpower while keeping firepower, were actually heavily equipped with assault rifles. The Volksgrenadiers actually large and had some of the same organization, though with quite not as many half-tracks. Flamethrower engineers pushing up there. Securing the munitions there. Kettenkrats need to get out of there. VonManstein, for heaven's sake. Don't lose more Kettenkrats. In fact, moving on. Although when you do face flamethrowers with the troops in the infantry attack, get them out first. Nope, never mind. Otherwise, you can actually risk the troops getting cooked. Which I imagine is not what you want. No doctrine as yet for VonManstein. 800 manpower being floated. Definitely not very commendable either. Going for the fuel point over there. Mines going down. Lots of mines going down from KrakbummEnte. That, on the other hand, is nice, but there's just a slight detail. He's fighting against the Panzer Elite. The Kettenkrats can spot mines pretty easily, so usually you want to be a bit more careful when fighting the Panzer Elite when it comes to mines. Engineers over there running into some nasty problems. In fact, looks like an engineer squad got wiped out, executed. Points being taken. Motor pull up for KrakbummEnte. Rifleman squad, I think it is, hiding in there. Not really a dominating position. I mean, this building would have been a better place to put the rifleman in. I mean, they can only really cover here and somewhat there. Bit of a rubbish placement of the rifleman. But looks like he's going for this point. You see if he can't cut off the Panzer resource, but then again, he needs to either secure these 2 points or these 2. I mean, if he just goes for this one, I mean, it's not going to do much as such. Unless, of course, dominate the area here, making it much harder for VonManstein's troops to leave his base, of course. Going for cut-off points there, but there's also all of this, so you also need to secure this. Panzer squad sent all the way up here. I mean, VonManstein seems to be trying some harassment strategy, which is commendable, but it seems a bit haphazard, and he's still floating an absurd amount of manpower. But now quickly training more Panzer Grenadiers, or at least he's trying to combat it. That's a good thing. Of course, he's already got 3 command points. You could also, just get some Fallschirmjägers out on the field. Panzer is here, though. Here, VonManstein makes another mistake. He assaults from across open ground against troops in heavy cover with BARs and whatnot, and there we go. The result was a lost Panzer Grenadier squad. Be careful when attacking troops with automatic weapons. In this case, also attacking vehicles with them. In this case, the rifleman actually took quite a bit of damage from trying to attack an infantry attack from the front, again across open ground. Infantry target in this case, though, looking very damaged, and out of control. The riflemen were able to knock it out, resulting in a leichte Schützenpanzerwagen tragically blown to bits.
We are losing ground.
Panzer Grenadiers moving up there. And we are seeing the Panzer Support Command getting its upgrade. Interesting.
We are losing ground.
Also a fun fact about the assault rifle. The troops were given it were actually sort of told not to go full auto on it, but they actually find burst, since the gun's recoil might actually be a bit too powerful to actually considerably handle full auto. In fact, it had a bit of things tendency of jamming up if that happened. Panzer squad almost going down. Again, VonManstein needs to work on his unit preservation, his unit usage. He has a bit of a tendency of sending in troops one at a time, not making coordinated assaults with several squads, which is definitely something he needs to work on.
Kampfgruppe Company has reported in and is ready to be deployed. The enemy will never be able to match the efficiency.
Engineers here running into considerable problem, and they are dying. KrakbummEnte also needs to work on his unit preservation. In fact, both players, as I suppose befits them on the novice fight, definitely need to work on them. There are several cases where they don't retreat troops when they definitely should have, and otherwise send troops into considerably silly positions. Grenade going off here. And again, I mean, sending in one squad of Panzers so close to the enemy space is begging for some losses. And he's still not dealt with that. And he's built another observation post. I mean, currently he's built 6 observation posts. Again, one of them is going to achieve pretty much nothing towards the actual war effort. The other one's on the fuel point, on the high fuel point, that's good. One's on the high munitions, that's good, except it probably should have been up there. Anti-tank gun rolling up for KrakbummEnte. He did not bother knocking up the anti-tank gun, so he's clearly not paying attention.
Our base is under attack.
Recon run by the looks of it.
One of our sectors has been cut off.
And there we go, Panzers trying to attack the rifle. The rifle definitely needs to get out of there. Come on, KrakbummEnte, save your men, save them. Apparently he decided against it, and so ended up wasting a veteran G2 rifleman squad. And we see a Panther battle group is actually being held in reserve for VonMansteinSS2, but still no doctrine. In fact, he's got 4 command points, yet he's still yet to choose something. And looks like a KrakbummEnte got knocked out by the anti-tank gun, by the 57mm M1.
Grenadiers, welcome to our Schützentrupp. Go ahead, sir. Ready to move.
Panzer Grenadiers need reinforcement. Mine's going down there. KrakbummEnte sneaking about. Absolutely nothing being done about it. At least that's working out for him. Supply upgrade, that is good, but nothing much seems to be happening, so why not speed this up. KrakbummEnte gets pushed off by the engineers. Panzers pushing up against the anti-tank gun. Ram getting slowed down, grenade getting knocked. Nice to see that grenade work. We could see a Panzer squad again goes down. VonMansteinSS2 once more needs to work on his unit preservation. And he keeps, I think, suffering rather unnecessary infantry losses all the time. This time though he actually retreats in time. That's good, that's really good, but another KrakbummEnte lost, and I do believe we're looking at about 4 KrakbummEnte lost, and we're seeing a Bergetiger out for VonMansteinSS2. A Bergetiger, that's not this often seen at this stage of the game, and definitely not on a Monday novice fight. We'll of course have to see how that one's going to work out, but definitely unusual. Definitely unusual. Flamethrower engineers pushing forwards, coming out of further, quickly getting slowed down by the Panzer Grenadiers. Another squad with Gewehr 43s. And the Bergetiger immediately sets about recovering the armoured car. That's a nice move. Riflemen pushing forward, one squad of Panzers getting pushed back. Assault Grenadiers pushing forward with their Sturmgewehrs. Riflemen suffer heavy losses. And in fact, yes, another squad of riflemen lost again. Both players, and a strafing run quickly moves in, though a bit too late. The squads were too far apart to really do anything. But again, KrakbummEnte needs to be able to retreat faster. Again, he loses so many riflemen on these situations where he just does not retreat, despite the fact that he's probably quickly losing men. Looks like the infantry object will be recovered as well. Fascinating.
Attention, the enemy advances.
And there we go.
Grenadiers reinforced. Our rifles are cold. Let's go. Forward supply lines are broken.
And leichte Schützenpanzerwagen is up and running. But still, the American player is holding most of the map, but he's taking some ridiculous losses in the process. And again, that's also keeping away from getting bigger units, because he constantly has to get fresh replacements for his infantry squads. He can't get armored cars, he can't get, you know, more anti-tank guns, he can't get a tank depot either, which would be really good considering he's has an observation post right there. But again, it's also something to do again with the fact he built an observation post on the bleeding strategic point. And he's got 3 squads of riflemen. He's actually getting an armoured car right now, but he's going to get to upgrade it. He's got a bombing run almost ready. And oh dear, definitely a mistake from KrakbummEnte. Definitely a mistake. You always get the armoured skirts first for the armoured car, not the 50 caliber. So definitely not a good move there. VonManstein pushing forwards in the name of the fatherland. Come, Heinz, we shall destroy the Americans with our new fancy assault rifles. In the meanwhile, the armoured cars sneaking about a bit lightly. Anti-tank watching over here. Connecting up resources, still maintaining most of the map quite nicely. And another observation post, so he's getting almost 100 munitions per minute. I mean, he could actually get off quite a few bombing runs quickly in that sense. But also he's got 176 fuel. I mean, he would really benefit from getting a tank depot up and getting some tank destroyers and some Shermans at this stage. I mean, and here's another problem for VonManstein. He's got absolutely no anti-tank assets. I mean, a Sherman right now, a tank destroyer right now, could really absolutely devastate from VonManstein, because again, he's got no Panzers, no Marders, no Panthers, no nothing. Again, he is incredibly vulnerable to an armoured assault.
We have a secured sector under attack.
Even the armoured car can do a lot of damage, even without the armoured skirts, because again, there's nothing that can really touch it. Although we do now finally see a Panther battle group up, but really again, that's not what VonManstein really should have been doing. He really set it off, running into some problems, and there you go, that armoured car's definitely going to go down. If the Panthers can hit it, there we go, nice hit, and out of control. Rifleman now getting blasted by the Panthers. Sticky bombs going off. And Rifleman need to retreat, and there we go. KrakbummEnte actually retreats his men. And in the meanwhile, a bit of an aggressive push using the Brigade to get the Kettenkrab back. Fascinating enough, another armoured car and another anti-tank. Though at this stage again, when there are Panthers on the field, I don't think bringing in more armoured cars is going to do the job. Having preserved the units a bit better, in that sense, a medic station would also, or 2 for that matter, would really have helped KrakbummEnte, as it clearly shows again. He can't preserve his infantry, and again, then having some medics to try and keep losses low that way would also have benefited him. Panther rolling forward, anti-tank and turning about. Bombing run going in. Not a bad position, but he might want to have considered the angle of the bombing run. You know, instead of trying to go down there again, he should have perhaps tried to sort of lead the target here with the tanks. You know, he knew where they were going, so perhaps, you know, try and, you know, lead the bombing so it would more directly hit. Or, I mean, he damaged one Panther, all right, but ultimately, had he gone this way, perhaps a bit up here, he probably could have gotten both Panthers absolutely wrecked, if not devastated. And there we go. The observation post is going to go down pretty quickly, and again, its overall usage is pretty much nil.
Anti-tank paradrop is asking for coordinates.
We have finished construction.
We have a secured sector under attack.
So there we go, a bit of a waste. Rather than pushing up, anti-tank and following up. And there we go, another Kettenkrab lost again. Unit preservation is woefully lacking in both armies currently. Both in the 21st and in the Panzer Brigade 106. Definitely not looking good. And fun fact, this infantry half-tank actually existed in armoured car version, basically having the same sort of gun and turret as this armoured car. In fact, this armoured car was later on completely stopped being made, simply because this one actually functioned much better off-road, amongst other things. Looks like we are going to see a push from KrakbummEnte. Anti-tank, and so where's the infantry? Where is the infantry? But where's the protection, mate? And we're seeing the anti-tank gun pulling forwards. Careful, careful for VonMansteinSS2. Looks like the armoured car's going to go. I mean, the half-tank's going to go down. There we go. Panzers pushing forward, doing what they can against the riflemen, causing some casualties while staying behind cover. In fact, using the anti-tank guns. Gun shield for cover. Panzer squad that went down to a grenade, but that was definitely not another grenade. Oh dear, we could see another Panzer squad going down. Get out of there, VonManstein. Protect your infantry. And there we go. Now the Panthers are rolling out. That anti-tank gun needs to be recruited. It looks like it will not. Instead, riflemen will be easy targets as the Panthers roll forward, even crashing a few. Armor car providing support. Sticky bomb on the Panther. Greyhound over there, but that Greyhound's obviously not going to be able to do much damage to the Panther. One gets immobilized even. And there we go, Panther is down. And it's actually time for the mid-game analysis. The current situation is not really good for KrakbummEnte in a sense that he's, losing a lot of units senselessly. His anti-tank guns were a bit too close and not protected. He needs to work on his unit preservation. He needs to work, on better pushing things forward. He's got most of the map, but he's not utilizing his resources in any even slightly optimal manner. Again, he's got so many observation posts, some cases, again, poorly placed. And, I mean, he built this, but he's clearly not caring about the fuel. He's floating 400 fuel, but he's not building anything that really uses it, which begs the question, why then even build an observation post there if you're not going to use the fuel that follows? Again, that's pretty much just for this area. 400 fuel wasted. Manpower, 400 manpower wasted, which could have been used on more infantry, more anti-tank guns, more anything else. Dreadful stuff. And he's building another one. He's building so many observation posts, but he's bloody well not using half of them. I mean, it's just pointless. That's 1,000 manpower. In fact, now used on observation posts, and again, only 2 of them, the one and the high munitions, are really having the resources that are coming out of them used on anything. Otherwise, it's again a waste of manpower. That's, in fact, 600 manpower wasted all in all. That's not good. That is terrible. And also pretty poor display in economics and mathematics. If you're spending 600 manpower and not using it at all, that's pretty much a waste. Of course, VonManstein definitely needs to work on it as well. I mean, he's constantly sending in troops piecemeal. He's losing a ton of Panzer grenadiers. I mean, he's going to be bleeding at least a few companies dry at the end of this fight if it keeps up like that. And the Bergtiger, though, is a nice move, is actually ensuring he doesn't quite fully lose as many vehicles permanently. So that's a plus, but that's about it, really. But he needs to work in his unit preservation. He needs to be more aggressive, and he needs to work his infantry together better, because he tends to send them in one at a time and then get them killed, which tends to be about a pretty rubbish tactic as they go. Sort of the thing you see, like, in Hollywood movies, one guy goes in, killed, he's basically just doing it with squads, and again, he's losing them quite insensibly. But let's get the fight going in. We've got one Panther here, which is currently a very, very oversized lawn ornament for all intents and purposes. Although we do see the Bergetiger moving in to support. Again, Panzers could be pushing forwards in the meanwhile, taking perhaps some victory points, doing something, but again, VonManstein not really living up to the name by a long shot.
We have a threat to our victory point.
No idea why. Whoops. Why sending up an armored car there so close to his opponent's base. Another anti-tank coming there. 433, 434 fuel. Again, so much fuel being used for nothing. It is again absolutely rubbish. And really should not be happening at all. That is for sure. And there we go, the armor count in fact stays about while riflemen are circling in about it. I mean, again, VonManstein, you're just throwing away vehicles in a manner most distressingly pointless. And slowly dealing with the observation post, but that would probably be better dealt with by the Panther or something else, not the assault rifles. That's going to take ages. Rather than hanging about there. Anti-tank guns getting wrecked. Still doesn't look like actually VonManstein's gone for a doctrine, which is not really inspiring either, but at least he's gaining back the map, he's gaining victory points. Panther here still needs repairs from the Brigade. Strafing run right there. That was definitely a waste of munitions because it really didn't do any damage, just like it pins on Panzer Grenadiers for a few seconds. So that was pretty much a waste of resources.
They're hitting one of our forward emplacements, trying to take our territory.
And he's building another observation post. He's barely got any combat troops. He really needs to get something out on the field in larger numbers, some armor. And he continues building observation posts. That's just no good. No good at all. Panzer is pushing forward, going to run straight into numerous riflemen again. VonManstein just sending in troops on their own. It looks like another squad of Panzer is going to go down. Another! Now in this case they actually managed to get out of there somewhat alive. And again that Panzer squad just continues to fire away, going to take... There we go, finally got it. Rifle pushing hard for the west, getting the victory point and the resources there.
Losing ground out there.
No real response from VonManstein, not say the Panthers. In that sense, VonManstein is showing a bit of lack of coordination of his forces, which is not really impressively good either. There we go, the Panther finally arrives. Rifle getting into a problem, although we do see a grenade lob. In this case, VonManstein does dodge it, which is much better. Raven squad taking up position there, not really going to do much against the Panther now, are they, KrakbummEnte?
Supply line losing ground out there. Territory cut off from supply.
Rifle moving up. Panzer squad almost down. Sticky bomb against the Panther. Anti-tank guns against the Panther. That's nice. Immobilized even. That's definitely to the advantage of KrakbummEnte. And again, VonManstein needs to coordinate his troops better. He needs to support his tanks better. He needs to not send in a Panther on its own. It's just going to get knocked out. And looks like some more Panzers starting. No, another Kettengrad. And there's only a Brigade and a Panther to stop it. Oh, the Panther's definitely going to do it. Panzers still. And again, I mean, here, KrakbummEnte makes a mistake. And that's leaving his anti-tank guns without infantry screening. Again, the anti-tank guns should not be left alone like that. In this case, VonManstein saw an opportunity and he took it. And that was good. He punished the anti-tank guns. Oh, grenade goes off though, and immediately two Panzers are lost, and veterans free for that rifleman squad. So suddenly, VonManstein rather wiped out that little advantage. Rifleman running into problem with the Panther. Veterans too, but they're also only two men. Panzers moving in. We could see rifleman squad going down, and the loss of such a squad again would be terrible. And he did it to get off a sticky bomb on the Panther. So that means basically he wasted a veteran 2 squad of riflemen, which is not really encouraging, as I'm sure you can imagine. Brigade rolls forwards.
Squad, ready for order.
Panzer Grenadiers reinforcing. And of course the Wehrmacht actually used a lot of trucks, not just the Opel Blitz. In fact, that caused them a huge problem because one division might actually end up using French, Czech and Austrian trucks, and one stage, and of course couldn't get all the parts for them.
Americans are seizing territory.
And yes, the Germans actually had used a ton of French vehicles. That was actually part of an interesting deal the French industry made with the Germans, and which actually they were allowed to get away with once the Germans had invaded them. Basically, all the French tank factories and all that said, well, we don't want to make your tanks, Hitler, but we'd very much like to make your trucks and cars and bikes. Oh yes, bikes, lots of motorbikes. And they were actually allowed it. Of course, later on there wasn't a program to basically standardize all the German vehicles, which helped a bit, which I imagine also applied to the French factories, but I mean, that's a slightly more fun little side fact. And actually caused some huge logistical problems because, again, all of a sudden they had a ton of French trucks which they actually couldn't keep maintained because, again, they couldn't get the proper parts for them. Panther has been recovered again. Again, a Panzer squad fighting on its own. Apparently, VonManstein seems quite intent that they're somehow German superheroes, which they're not quite. They're good German soldiers, but still, they need to work in pairs and with some support. Strafing run again. I mean, here, again, KrakbummEnte once more displays that economics is not his strong side, and again, wastes a strafing run as a single squad of Panzer Grenadiers, thus achieving pretty much bupkis. Panzer is pushing forward and they're taking losses. Grenades getting dropped right there. And again, another Panzer squad lost because in this case, VonManstein decided to charge a veteran C3 rifleman squad across open ground. That pretty much tends to be a really bad idea. So again, VonManstein wasting an awful lot of Panzer Grenadiers. Rifleman squad getting murdered though. KrakbummEnte needs to get it out of there. That would definitely be very depressing if he lost a full veteran C3 squad of riflemen. Panzers up here, they're running into a problem with the Sherman. We actually finally see a Sherman out for KrakbummEnte, some armor. That's just one Sherman. And again, we also see the anti-tank guns are once more unprotected, unsupported. Again, a few Panzer Grenadiers could sort that out pretty quickly. And he actually turns aside of one of the anti-tank guns, allowing the Panther to flank it and kill the crew. Oh no. KrakbummEnte does it again. Minor fighting going on here. And there we go, one anti-tank gets wrecked absolutely horrendously. Another one likely going to go down soon. As the Panzers also move up, beginning killing the crew and leaving behind a Sherman to face off against two Panthers. Not good, and he lost in the meanwhile the Panzer Grenadiers to a flamethrower squad for VonManstein. Oh, you klutz. Sherman pulling away, clearly outmatched, but I mean, it's got very little life left in it, and I imagine one shot from a Panther or two more is going to say goodnight for that Sherman and put it into the realm of Morpheus.
200 points. Supply lines are broken.
Tank depot though soon ready. Panzer Grenadiers pushing forwards. And it looks like another squad of Panzer is going to get shredded by grenades and fire from the Veteran C3 squad. Once more VonManstein does it. In this case, he actually managed to save the squad, although it looks like now in this case, we do see that KrakbummEnte loses squad. Nope. No squad's lost. Oh, wait, there we go. Of course, VonManstein did lose a squad of Panzer Grenadiers. A few riflemen trying to sneak up on the Panthers. The Veteran C3 rifleman, the heroic Veteran C3 rifleman, getting off a Veteran C3 sticky bomb. Sherman going to get hunted down, though. Like a wounded pig. The Panthers roll in and knock it out. Also, no less like a pig. Riflemen continue to lob sticky bomb after sticky bomb after the Berge Tiger. Panzers though finding a bit forward on the left side again though. No, VonManstein constantly down to 3 Panzers squads. He's used so many though, trained so many. He's floating 1100 manpower clearly at one stage, yet it just keeps on happening. VonManstein really is not an infantry commander. Mildly put. Though neither is KrakbummEnte either. And the riflemen just continue up, lobbing their dirty socks filled with explosives. And we finally see a doctrine for VonManstein. He had 11 command points. He finally gets a doctrine. And he uses it to get Fallschirmjäger, which we've gotten so much earlier in the match. I mean, it's just a mind-boggling waste. In this case, the Fallschirmjäger have been sent in to apparently sort things out for the Panzer Brigade, going for the victory point. Damaged engine. The Berge Tiger is almost down. The Veteran C3 riflemen, though, keep at it like the vicious bastards they are. They refuse to leave. Not until that Berge Tiger is a wreck. And it's still there, the Berge Tiger immobilized, its treads blown off, the engine on fire, and the two guys on the back of the Berge Tiger standing on top of the burning engine. Can't be good for their boots.
The enemy is attempting to seize the fuel point from us.
And there we go, another sticky bomb. They refuse to leave. They want it dead. And there we go. The Berge Tiger is finally lost. Kaputt, nicht mehr. A ruin.
Forward supply lines are broken.
Trupp ready.
Engineers pushed away by the Fallschirmjäger with the FG-42 weaponry.
Infantry section ready.
Heavy Panzer ready.
Tank destroyers being assembled by KrakbummEnte and anti-tank gun ready as well. One rifleman squad being faced down by 2 Panthers, including 1 veteran T2 with a machine gun on top. Sticky bomb on the Panther rifle. No need to get out of there quickly. Come on, KrakbummEnte.
Target secured. No problem.
Panther limping away from the battlefield. Veteran sergeants on the way for VonManstein's troops. Tank destroyer, anti-tank gun. The other tank destroyer might want to join up with the first one before they roll in after the Panthers. Just a suggestion. Just a suggestion. Fallschirmjägers advancing first, so straight into the line of fire of the Fallschirmjägers and their FG-42s. And Panther opens up as well. Rather moving up from another angle, going to engage those Panzer Grenadiers. With Gewehr 43s and a Browning automatic grenade goes off and almost takes out the Panzer Grenadiers. In fact, they do, and can quickly pick up the BR, in fact, recovering what could have been their own. BR lost much earlier. Fallschirmjägers though closing in, and we do see the tanks around the anti-tank moving in, but where's the other one? That second one is still up in the base. It's not moved, for heaven's sake, KrakbummEnte. Coordination! Coordination! Oh, looks like the Fallschirmjäger squad is lost for VonManstein, and again VonManstein displays his lack of skill in infantry commanding. And again, he definitely needs to work on that. Otherwise, I mean, he's going to be facing much larger troubles in the future. And it looks like the tank destroyer will go down, and this is a loss that could have been. Nope. Tank destroyer barely survives. But still, could have been a much better condition had he pulled in the second one. Again, KrakbummEnte needs to work on his unit coordination and unit preservation. Again, like VonManstein, he just sends in 1 unit at a time in a much larger numerically superior force, which again tends not to work. Or for that matter, against Panthers, in which case you really need more than 1 unit attacking it.
Our forces are taking care.
And of it, I think that was... Oh, he's lost the veteran T3 rifle, and I'm not entirely sure of those for it, but they were veteran T2, and they went down to the Wirbelwind. Again, KrakbummEnte losing a lot of good infantry in senseless ways. Again, unit preservation matters. In particular, as the Americans, if you end up losing veteran T3 riflemen, you're really losing some important assets. Wirbelwind rolling forwards for the fatherland. Getting blasted by the anti-tank gun. And there you go, the other Panther rolling up, taking shots at the tank destroyer. Rifleman moving in. Another tank destroyer on the way. This one needs to get out of there. And there we go, the tank destroyer out of control. Sticky bomb likely going to go off on the Panther. Anti-tank gun likely going to get cleared out. And there we go. Panzer Grenadiers and Panzerkampfwagen 5 sorted that one out beautifully. And looks like these riflemen are going to go down. Sticky bomb goes off on the Panther. Another tank destroyer going to be sent off on its own. And no engineers to repair the tank destroyer, by the way. More riflemen being sent in. More Fallschirmjäger appearing. And again, 1 at a time. Piecemeal. Again, that is not how you do it. That's begging to have troops wasted. In particular, when there's again a lot more infantry. And a Panther tank destroyer moving in. Grenade goes off. Not really getting anything. Tank destroyer needs to be careful again. There needs to be more than one trying to take on a Panther. And that's clearly not happening. Instead, again, KrakbummEnte is just slowly feeding tank destroyers to it like incredibly expensive candies. Explosive candies, which are clearly not good for the Panther's health, but nonetheless, I mean, it's pretty much just free veterans eaters to an extent. And which just makes it utterly pointless that KrakbummEnte insists on doing it like that. More rifle on the way. Fallschirmjägers once more equipped with the FD-42. Strafing run again. KrakbummEnte does it bloody well once more. Again, you know what would have been a good target? These Panzer gunners repairing the Panther. Although again, he did not have vision of them. But again, just strafing a single score with a strafing run is a waste of 150 munitions. You're rarely going to kill anyone, and the most likely what you're going to do is pin them and slightly tickle them. It's meant for clearing larger forces or immobilizing them. It's not meant for doing that again. I mean, he knows it does nothing. He knows it's not going to do an awful lot to stop them. Yet he insists on doing it. It's distressing to see such a clear failure to really learn from what's actually going on the battlefield. Also note, we have a tank destroyer all the way up here, not really doing much other than trying not being repaired. Panzers riflemen launching a direct assault, and these Panzers hold up behind a Greyhound, certainly going to be wiping them away from the face of the earth, which I suppose is something. Fallschirmjägers nearby, another Panzer squad moving in. Panther needs to arrive. Bergetiger repairing the Bergetiger. Looks like the other Panther was wrecked by the first one, possibly, or something else. Luftwaffe troops actually out on the field trying to lay down barbed wire. That was a nice move, at least attempt by VonManstein, but ultimately again too bloody late. They could have been up much earlier and doing some fortification works for VonManstein, but again, VonManstein was definitely way too late in actually getting a doctrine, and now it largely doesn't matter. Since KrakbummEnte almost seems to be trying to make a sport out of wasting resources. And looks like he's sending in the tank to try to knock up the flak feeling, but of course there's going to be a Panther moving in from the other side and going to just cut off the retreat path for the tank destroyer. Again, I have no idea why KrakbummEnte insists on making this, nor why he insists on making a direct assault on VonManstein's base. It seems quite frankly pointless.
Enemy unit
He gets the flak feeling, but he's likely going to lose the tank destroyer, and there we go, out of control. Riflemen are going to have to run past through all of these troops, plus the Panther, which is already tearing through the rifleman with its machine guns. And there we go, one rifleman squad veterans, one retreating past the FD-42s and the Sturmgewehren. And there we go, one squad down, others heavily beaten up. Never mind, he lost a tank destroyer, and for what? A flak feeling. Again, not good. And again, it's these continued waste of resources that KrakbummEnte just keeps delving into that is rather hurting his cause. I mean, ultimately, this game rather comes down to who is the least terrible at unit preservation and resource loss, waste. And the largely dubious winner of this title seems to be generally VonManstein, and that's not because he isn't trying, apparently, but, you know, because simply his equipment ends up on a slightly more foolproof side, because he's not the one wasting, again, hundreds and hundreds of manpower on absolutely silly things, and not using his resources nowhere nearly as effective, nor wasting perfectly good strafing runs on pointless things. I mean, one would almost think that KrakbummEnte is deliberately trying to just waste resources. It certainly seems like that at times, because again, you really have to wonder why on earth is he doing some of those things when they're clearly not paying off for him. Why does he then proceed to repeat them? And again, he's got 740 fuel. Again, those observation posts were an absolute waste of manpower. Again, manpower could be used on the front lines for actual tanks. Again, it's just sad. And so frustrating, but hopefully it will provide a good lesson for some players again on how not to spend resources, how not to use the troops. Again, you need to coordinate them. Coordination. Attacking from several angles more at once.
100 points.
Grenades going off. I mean, at least, you know, KrakbummEnte's got the grenades, you know, part of it. I mean, not all novices, in fact, think of grenades, but the KrakbummEnte is certainly trying that. It's definitely a sign of something. And again, he's running another tank straight into the base, and there's no apparent reason for it. I mean, he's setting himself up for being blasted by the Panther. I mean, it just seems absolutely bizarre. And there we go, a tank destroyer down, the other one moving in. Sticky bombs going off, rifling awfully close to the assault rifles. Dual sticky bombs almost knock out the Panther. Will the tank destroyer be able to get it? Panzer squad lost. Fallschirmjägers fighting away. Tanks, so they're going to have a problem dealing with the Panther from the front. There we go, damaged engine. Who shall win this? Sticky bomb on the Panther, main gun destroyer on the tank destroyer. BAR left behind. The Force-Maker quick to pick up and destroyed engine of the Panther. Immobilized. But veteran to free, an absolute veteran, absolute beast, and still there. And KrakbummEnte apparently thinking it's a joke. Well, I'm terribly sorry, but the joke's on you. Considering how, again, you spent 200 manpower on an observation post on a strategic point. Force-Makers, though, are advancing. And KrakbummEnte's forces have largely been devastated. The Flak 88, I'm not really sure is a good move. The Flak feeling, on the other hand, I mean, unless he throws in something like mortars or snipers, which really does not seem to be the case for KrakbummEnte. I mean, this can actually do alright against infantry. I mean, he can shred it, so... It's also a nice move to protect the Flak 88, so as such, not a bad idea, but again, would have been nicer had it been earlier on. Just saying. Force-Makers holding on there, Riflemen pushing in against the Force-Makers. The Force-Makers doing their best, but the Riflemen ultimately overwhelming them. Both Bagatiga rolling up to repair the Panther as smoothly and swiftly as possible. Points are ticking down, 64 points for KrakbummEnte, speeding things up a bit.
Observation posts report we are losing a sector. Forward supply lines.
Panther repaired. Bomb pushing up, then we're likely going to see that Flak feeling open up with 4 anti-aircraft guns. There we go. Just tearing through the Riflemen, doing lots of damage. Butterfly bombs going off, suppressing the Riflemen. And I do believe it looks like the Flak thing is reloading, but there we go. Firing away again. Looks like a squawk went down somewhere to the Wehrmacht, to the Panzer Brigade. Well, of course, these would have been very much been provided by the Luftwaffe, since the Panzer Brigades would not really have had any sort of heavier or more static anti-aircraft guns with them. They were very much about mobility, counter-attacks, and then getting the devil out of there. They were not for holding ground either. And they were also specifically meant for dealing with the Russians. They did, in most cases, considerably less well against Americans and British forces. Though one case, I think that was during Market Garden, the 107th actually did alright. And that was despite only perhaps having a month or two to train in. Rifleman pushing up. Anti-tank gun ready. Lots of Force-Makers now for VonManstein all of a sudden. Pull up behind heavy cover. There we go. Schnellman out. Engineers are running into a problem. Mines down. Dead. Incendiary grenades now getting locked all of a sudden from VonManstein's troops. Grenade on the Panzers as they do retreat, so VonManstein slightly picking up there. FT-42 is doing alright. Then advancing straight into 2 squads of Riflemen. Less good for VonManstein's Fallschirmjägers. Riflemen pushing on. Looks like in this case the Fallschirmjägers are getting utterly overwhelmed. They're getting suppressed. Actually, there's a suppressor fire from the Riflemen. That's nice to see, actually. A bit rare, particularly on the novice levels, but alright. But there we go. The Fallschirmjägers were not retreating in time, unlike the Panzer Grenadiers. Point secured there. I wonder what's spotting the mines. Huh. Panther, though, ready again. Fit for fight. Gefechtsbereit. And pushing forwards. Opening up on the vicious Riflemen. Wiring off here to protect. Always one way to do it. Speeding things up in there, GG. Can be seen as rude by some. More wire up. And there we go. Yawn. No. And clearly again in this case it rather feels like KrakbummEnte is trying to shift away any blame from him, despite again, I mean, poor resource handling, poor unit preservation. I mean, largely this is what this game comes down to. Again, piecemeal attacks, never good. Don't send in troops one at a time. Always try to attack with several and try to attack from several angles if possible. Also, you know, again, don't spend a lot of manpower on observation posts. 1 or 2 is good. 6 is terrible. In particular, 1 on a strategic point, which again is absolutely baffling. Baffling, ladies and gentlemen. It should not have happened in the first place. And also, again, building several on fuel points and they're not using any of the fuel again. I mean, why build those in the first place? It's Again, it is not good. It is awful. Again, that's just 600 manpower which could have been spent on troops, and again the unit preservation. Several times they should have been retreating in time, but they were not. Never, and certainly those were the pitfalls that von Manstein fell into. Except, of course, he didn't build a lot of observation posts. Of course, you also need to be a bit more aggressive. In particular, early on, there was too much time building things, not enough training troops. So, I mean, that's also something you should work on. Again, the doctrine, you should not wait to half an hour into the match before even choosing a doctrine. In fact, I think it was 40 minutes. That's not good either. And also, again, the strafing run usage, terrible bombing runs or so, but again, not the way he uses strafing runs for most of the time. But there you go. I hope you learned something from this match, possibly even enjoyed it. If you did, why not subscribe, tell your friends. If you didn't, well, why not send a replay of your own or provide some feedback in the comments. This is Imperial Dane saying to you.